about a mutation in mind is particular. So if you say it can be done, you have to produce results, not just talk. I say it can't be done. There is nothing there to be transformed radically or otherwise. That's the most important thing. To talk of awareness as a means to bring about change is bosh and nonsense, because awareness is not a separate activity, an independent activity from the activity of the brain. That's what the brain physiologists are now talking about. It cannot be separated from the activity of the brain. So, how can you expect to bring about a change?
But you're not saying it is the brain.
It is.
You are saying
I'm saying that.
it is brain.
Just like you say the dial is the byproduct of the brain. But that's not an instrument to bring about any change.
But
It's
a computer could be said to be involved.
Not yet. They are not far from. It's not far from that. It is. The problem with us is we are self-conscious. Somewhere along the line, man became suddenly self-conscious. That created the neurotic situation. So that's the reason why he still feels that there is something that he can do to bring about an integration and function as an integrated individual. So it is the movement that is interested in integrating the two is the one that is responsible for the division in man. So I personally feel that it can never be reversed.
But what about schools? Can there not be a right education?
If you want to produce evangelists, propagandists, missionaries for your teaching, yes, what all the schools, I went to a Christian Catholic school, I went to Jesuit priests for my teachers all the way, right up to my master's degree, and there was no influence on me at all, you see. Their attempt was very subtle, you see, not open. But what's wrong with me? Nothing wrong with me. So you cannot, you see, first of all, create an atmosphere of freedom. Let's be honest, you see. You are not yourself free. So how can you create an atmosphere of freedom?
But then the implication is that if one is free, then can one create?
That itself is an assumption on your part.
That one can be free.
That you are free, first of all. The one who is talking, you see, that he is free. And that he wants, through the help of others, to create an atmosphere of freedom. So what exactly do you mean by freedom? Freedom from this, that, or the other? Or you are talking of freedom as an abstraction? Or what do you mean by freedom? You define freedom, you see. It is always related to something, you see. You have to be free from this, that, or the other. What is it that you want to be free from?
Well, the question is, why should one be free? For example, you see, in a situation I want to act in the best possible way.
You see, any action that is born out of thought is a divisive action, you see, and it is bound to end in conflict.
Because that necessarily follows, though.
Well,
I've heard it many times, but I don't know if I see the logic of it.
but according to me, I do not put it that way. See, I maintain that there is no action other than that action. There is no such thing as a spontaneous, pure action. The only action that is there is the action that is not on your conscious level of your thinking and conscious level of your existence. It's not a thoughtless action. It is not the action of a man who is unconscious. This living organism is not separate from the things that are there around. see. So any action that is born out of thought is an action that separates you from the totality of the electromagnetic field and creates an individual isolated field here. And the action that I'm talking about is the response to the stimuli. You know? And even that is not on your conscious level, because it is a thought that separates or creates a division between the stimulus and response. But it is a unitary movement. The response to the stimulus is a unitary movement. So what thought does is to create a division between the two and calls it, you see, an action which is not a divisive action, a pure spontaneous action. I don't know, I think I make myself clear.
Is that the right action?
No, there is no action in that sense at all, you see. It is not an action that is a product of your thinking. It is not the pure spontaneous action that you are talking about. It is just a response to the stimulus. That's the only action.
Well, even that may depend on thought.
No, thought is not involved in that.
Not thinking, perhaps.
You see, what's the difference between thought and thinking? You see, thinking is to shape a particular event, you see, in your favor, that's all. You see, to become something, to be something, you see. That's all. You see, wanting, you see. Wanting and thinking are not two different things. If you don't want to think, there is no thinking at all. So it doesn't matter what you want, whether you want material goodies or spiritual goodies. The only instrument that you have is thinking to achieve your goal of material goods or spiritual goods. So for me, there is no spiritual goods at all, because the instrument which you are using is a material one. And what you call spiritual also is material. So you cannot separate the two, the material and the spiritual. We have unfortunately invented a thing called spirit, a center, a psyche, a mind, and whatever you want to call it. And then created, you see, these religious values or spiritual values, which are totally unrelated to the functioning of this living organism, which has an extraordinary intelligence of its own. And the intellect that we acquire through our study, through our effort, through our will, through our thinking is no match to that. On the other hand, it runs contrary to the natural, spontaneous functioning of this living organism. So any action that is born out of thinking is destructive, because it is a protective mechanism. See, thought is a protective mechanism. It is protecting itself. And the protection that is interested in, or the action that is interested in, is the continuity of thought. So what I am trying to say is that there is no totality of thoughts, there is no totality of your feelings, there is no totality of your experiences. Each one is an independent one. It is through thinking, which you call experience, you are linking up these things and to create a continuity of thought. Otherwise, each one is an independent event.
This intelligence that you're talking has a term called the power to
do what? To function with extraordinary alertness and awakeness.
No, not to allow thought to interfere in the activity.
Thought is action. See, that action is only for the survival of the living organism.
But
Thought
is dead.
Huh?
Thought is dead.
So that is why it integrates itself with the living thing. You have unfortunately created a parallel moment called thinking, which is totally unrelated to the functioning of the living organism. That is the conflict, not the psychological conflict you are talking about. It has no place there at all. It is not for the survival of the living organism there. I don't want to use the word survival, because the this living organism has no beginning, has no end. You see, it has no death at all. You see. It has no end.
Because it's an expression of life.
Life, you see. In this process of dying, it is adding momentum to the life. You see. So death is absolutely essential in that sense. The disintegration of the body, when it cannot renew itself, is an essential part of the movement of life. So there is no death for this at all. This is on the other hand is immortal. But the other thing is already dead. So a dead thing cannot touch a living thing. So if for some reason it touches the living thing, it burns itself first.
The thought not wanting to end has created the natural life.
Yeah, it just creates anything it wants. It believes in anything it wants. Its interest is perpetuation. Self-perpetuation is all that it is interested in. See, when I use the word self, I use the word self in the sense in which we use the self-starter in a car, but not that there is an entity there. You see. To me, there is nothing there to be transformed. So unfortunately, for centuries, we have given this religious slant to that. The whole thing has to be freed from all moral and all religious overtones.
And then what will happen?
Then what is there to happen? It functions smoothly, intelligently, and sanely. So we have no control over that.
Are you saying that, well, I'm not quite sure I do understand what the implications are. Historically, supposedly, certain men throughout history have achieved something.
What is it that they have achieved? Well, you assume that they have achieved something. But why don't you question that? You see, if they have achieved the same thing, we were discussing the same thing, if they have all achieved the same thing, why the expressions are different? There is something funny somewhere. No? Either all of them are not in the same state or whatever word you want to use, or they have deliberately created, you see, this the false teachings, see, in the name of compassion, in the name of service for mankind, in the name of this, that, and the other. Or, you see, what they claim to be, you see, is not what they are in. I don't know, you see. So if you question the teaching of the man, you are also questioning the teacher. You cannot really separate these two. The teaching and teacher are not two different things. You see, the teaching does not work. You cannot blame yourself all the time and curse yourself. You see, you are back there in the Catholic Church. I'm a petticoat sinner, I'm a sinner, I will remain a sinner. So maybe the teacher is wrong. So maybe the teaching is wrong. If it doesn't work, you see, something is wrong somewhere. I say it can't be done. Some chappie says it can be done. If it can be done, all right, show me the result. I'm not interested in the result, but I'll just go on singing my song. Good luck to you. So, but here, you see, you are creating an institution to create individuals who are free. I really don't know what you mean by, you see, free individuals. You are yourself not free. How the hell can you create free individuals? That's what I'm interested in. If the man who is talking of this is a revolution, God knows what, the one and the only revolution. 60 years has been at it. You see, something's wrong somewhere. So maybe it's an act of self-deception, pure and simple self-deception, and he may have trapped all these people, hundreds and thousands of people, into that game. No?
So once again to ask,
you said that there are differences in what these various teachers throughout history have said, but I think one can also find great similarities, as are displayed in Aldous Huxley's book.
The similarities are very simple because, you see, you know what is called the theory of knowledge. Theory of knowledge is the basis of your experience, what the philosophers call epistemology. Epistemologically speaking, there are bound to be parallels in their expression. And from that, you see, you project that they are all, you see, in the same state of, I don't know what you want to call it.
The essence of that the self is an illusion and what is essentially nothing. And that's what everything is.
And then we talk of self-realization. What is there to realize?
So nothingness.
Okay. But, can you say anything about nothingness? Can you call it love? Can you call it compassion? Can you call it this, that, and the other? That's the falsification of what you call nothingness.
There are some teachers who have said that it's nothing, for example.
All right, you stop there. All right, you see, you stop there. But you don't superimpose on that, you see, those romantic, poetic phrases. Love, compassion, you see, immensity, beauty, beatitude. How can you say that? See, you cannot, you see, this is the most important question one has to ask for oneself is it possible for you to look at it, you see? Separate yourself from thought and look at thought. It is impossible, I say. If somebody says it is possible, he's just kidding himself and kidding. You can try it. There is no such thing as thought at all. What you are indulging in is only the dialectical thinking about thinking itself. You see, all right, here is the thought. And you see, I am looking at the thought. You are there. There is nobody who is looking at the thought. It is the definition of thought that is there only. Thought is time, thought is space, thought is matter, thought is this, thought. You know, so on and so forth. But what is there is only the definition. Thought is time, is the thought. That is a statement. There is no thought independent of or separate from this definition or the statement about thought. That's all. It cannot divide itself into two and say that is thought and this is the one who is looking at thought. So the observer you are talking about is nothing but the movement of knowledge that is there. There is no observer there at all.
Observation is that please?
Any observation is the product of the observer, creation of the observer. So is there any observer there independent of or separate from the movement of the knowledge you have there?
If I have to say something about these leaves, then I make use of knowledge. But if I don't want to say anything, I just have the experience of it.
How can you experience without the knowledge? This is my basic question. Don't kid yourself. Is it possible to experience anything without knowledge? The knowledge is not something mystical or mysterious. What you know of this, first of all, this is a leaf. This leaf is green. This is what you have learned, what you have been taught. You have put together all those things, and it is that is looking at it. You see, there is no...
Usually I think one can look at the leaf from the greenness without also postulating that things they're looking
at. You don't know a thing about that at all.
There's even, I think, some studies have come out showing that when people, for example, gain their sight from having been blind from birth and then gain their sight later, that they actually can't see. I mean, they see, but they don't recognize anything. I mean, they cannot actually function.
See, there is no such thing.
That's right.
There is no such thing as greenness at all. This is all the stuff that the philosophers weave into some poetic nonsense. You see, this is just, you see, a retina there. And this living organism is living. See, that means there is what is called life there. What life is, nobody knows. Like we see the electricity there, the energy. The electricity is not there, the bulb is useless. So in exactly the same way, the eye, the corpse, you can put a corpse there. You know, the eyes are open, it doesn't see anything because the stimulus that is originating here, because of the light falling on this, is activating the optic nerves and throwing an image on that. You see, this is supposed to be the explanation given to us by the physiologists. They can show this in the laboratory, see how it is operating, but you have no way of testing the validity of the statement for yourself. Because you cannot look, you see, inside and say that that is the image of the object out there on the retina. So you can give an explanation. You see, the light is not there, the problem is solved for you. There is no question of this throwing an image on the retina, or you see the stimulus of this that is generated by the light falling on that cannot activate your optic nerves, and there is no image on that. It's like a mirror. You see, this is a live mirror. That's all that is the difference between a mirror there and the living human being. The retina there is a living thing, so it is reflected on that. You see. So there is another thing. See, thought can only take still pictures, but a physical eye, without the interference of thought, can capture the movement. That movement is the movement of light. Because there is a movement of light here, that movement is captured by the physical eye, a living eye. The moment the thought interferes and translates that what is called sensation, it has turned the whole thing into a still picture. It is a movement, it's a unitary movement, both is a single movement. The thought comes and separates. If we are all the time talking about thought, but you don't know a thing about thought, the only thought is that this is, you see, a leaf and that this is green. That's all that you can say, or what the name of this particular plant is in the whole. If you are a student of botany, you would know a lot more about these things. You see, you can study all about the histology and the morphology and the whole, the nature of this particular thing, to which order, this natural order, this tree belongs. So you gather a lot of information about that. You see, one after the other, see, it comes out. You see. So there we are. What is it that these people are talking? You see, they say observer is the observed. True, it's a very profound statement. So then if you have to go one step further and say there is neither the observer nor the observed. Fine. So that itself is enough. The observer is the observed. That's the end of the whole thing. The implication of that statement is something extraordinary. All right. So to give you a further hint that the observer is the observed, fine, there is neither the observer nor the observed. I don't like this Vedantic or the software jargon because it destroys the simplicity of the whole situation. So can you say anything about that situation where there is neither the observer nor the observer? Can you talk of that situation as love, bliss, beatitude, immensity, and all that rubbish? It's a self-speech to put you in a merry-go-round, and you are lost forever. If that is so, you can't say that the observer is the observed. What is the observer you are talking about? The observer is not there independent of the knowledge you have of it, the movement of the knowledge. The movement is triggered by the sensory perceptions. The senses do not say anything about it. The sensory activity cannot be divided into two. So what is the experience you are talking about? Without knowledge, there is no experience. Experience is essential for you because if the experience is not there, the whole movement of knowledge is blasted. So you have necessarily to translate every sensation within the framework of the knowledge and then add momentum to this movement of knowledge. So every experience you have through the help of this knowledge is strengthening and fortifying the totality of the knowledge. So you know, through knowing this movement of knowledge will gather momentum. That's not something mysterious, religious or mystical.
That's fine. I see what you're saying, I think. What I'm wondering about the implications of this. Are you saying then that we cannot function, basically we cannot function without thought, we cannot function without that recognizing ability?
Because it is interested in perpetuating itself, the movement of knowledge. We can function without that. Because you are using this simple mechanical thing for purposes for which it is not intended. Thought is action. The moment the thought is born, the action is complete. So somebody gives a knock on the door, the response is, you see, complete there, total. So it doesn't matter whether you go and open the door or not. You see, you put these two events in perspective and say that is the cause of this moment here. But in between, there are millions and millions of actions taking place. So it is the thought that links up these two and creates a situation where you establish that, you see, that particular cause has resulted in this particular action. So the cause and event relationship you have created. So there is no difference between cause and effect at all. We are talking of, you see, the fire and the smoke. In Indian logic, they say, see, wherever there is fire, wherever there is smoke, there is fire. So you link up these two events and say this smoke is the cause of that fire. But you see, this may be something else, who knows? So something is funny, something is really funny.
Do you consider that phenomena exist apart from awareness? Does that...
To me, awareness is a synonymous term for knowledge. That's all. What exactly do you mean by awareness? There is no... You see, I even object to the use of the word consciousness. To me, no, you can define it. See, take a dictionary, and the dictionary says the state of being aware is awareness.
When it all goes round in circles,
that's all.
Word, which has no reference to any other word.
No, that's all that you can do. You see, I have no other way of finding out what that word means except you should look into the dictionary, and the dictionary says the state of being aware is awareness. Well, what does it mean? I'm not any the better. I'm not any the wiser. Consciousness is another word which we very loosely play with. You see, to me, there is no consciousness. Consciousness is another word for life. But consciousness is thought. If you are conscious of something, you become conscious of this only through thought. It is a thought that says that this is a tape recorder. You are conscious of the tape recorder because you have the knowledge. If the knowledge is absent, and such a situation does not exist at all, so there is no point in saying, if what you know about this is not there, what is there? Asking such a question is an idiotic thing to do. Because you have no way of knowing anything about that, much less experiencing that, and much less if we talk about in poetic or romantic, you see.
But isn't there such a thing as pure sensation or simple sensation?
No. Not so. No. There is no sensation for all practical purposes because you have no way of knowing anything about it. So I give a stock example, you see. This is what is called the touch, you see. Two things are in contact. What you call table and what you call this hand, it is in touch, you see. This is the sensation of touch. The sensation of touch at no moment says that this is hard. You see? So when the thought is nothing but, you see, the word hard. You see? So when there is a space, the thought creates a space between the two. When there is a space, the thought says that this is hard. If the thought is not there, you really don't know what is going on there. So whatever is happening here is also happening here. It is one unitary movement. So you can't say that this is hard. So it is the thought that has created the space and also created the matter here. So there was no matter before. So in that sense, thought is space, thought is matter. So it is the thought that has actually given the materiality and substance to this and says it is hard and it becomes hard. You understand? You're a logician or a philosopher like you might throw a question at me and say, see, the hardness was there before. Yes, it's fine. I'm not saying that this is a soft pillow. When you ask me the question, how is it, I would say it is hard. You see? But if the thought is not there, you have no way of experiencing the hardness of this object. So this is the sensation of touch, what we call sensation of touch. The eye also looks at things. It does not say that that is a mountain, that that's a tree, that's a green tree. Whatever is there is reflected on this retina, that's all. But you can't say that is a sensation. It's like saying, it's talking about thought, so you cannot talk about sensation either.
I think what you're saying basically is that thought allows recognition and meaning to take place. It's essentially meaning.
The recognition and the naming. You see, the recognition is there in the animals too. That's our speculation, because the dog recognizes the master. The dog does not bark at the master, but barks at the thief. You see, so it recognizes, it knows the difference between. And we have added on to that, you see, the verbalization, which is the naming. You see, that's why it has become more complex and more complicated in the case of the humans than in the animals. You see, to me, mankind is just another kind of a species on this planet. It is the thinking that has made us feel superior to them and complicated the whole thing. No doubt this living organism is far more complex and complicated, you see, the animals, because of the evolutionary process, and it has taken millions and millions and millions of years to create this, the human being. And that's all that is there. See, the evolution is not interested in creating a perfect human being, which is modeled after, you see, those so-called religious teachers. But it has nothing to do whatsoever with the religious mind that all these people are talking about. The mind in its very nature can never be religious, can talk of religious. It can never be religious because there is nothing religious about it.
But what is this? You're speaking of some sort of intelligence before.
The intelligence that is native there, the instinctual wisdom that is there, you know, which is the product of millions and millions and millions of years of evolution.
But I'm saying that
tens of thousands of ants will need to perform the action that the human brain can perform.
you're saying that intelligence is a result of time.
Is a result of the evolutionary process, which is time.
So it's really nothing but a very high degree of skill.
Exactly. That's all that I'm saying. So to give a religious slant to it, or moral and religious overtones to that and talk of the one and the only revolution is bullshit. Sorry.
So what are you, well, now wait a minute though, there must be something more that you're trying to say here that I'm not getting. See, what I'm trying to understand here is, because, I mean, a lot of this makes sense to me, but what I'm trying to determine is, what are you saying that it's the insight into what you're saying
is the blockage. There is no insight there. Insight is the result of the dialectical thinking about thinking itself, and that insight cannot touch anything there. That's all that I'm saying. It is one insight against another insight. It's good, you see, for a dissertation, you see, a thesis, or a platform.
And what is it that you are saying? I mean, what about, you see what I'm saying is that you're saying that there is only this intelligence, but there must have been something which observed that the intelligence is only a high degree of
that's all.
Yes, but you must have observed that.
No, the intellect which we have acquired through culture, through education, through upbringing and so on and so forth, is totally unrelated to the functioning and the needs of that living organism. That's all that I'm saying. So we have created, you see, another kind of a reality, another kind of a world, and superimposed on that. And this, the sorry state of affairs in the world today is that hasn't touched anything there. So that is why the man has remained neurotic, and the more teachers we have in this world,
when you say that it has
the more neurotic you see we become.
When you say that it has not touched anything there, you see, that makes it a bit mysterious.
Why is it?
Is there something to be touched?
Why? You see, you are talking of bringing about a change. You see, you are talking of the religious life. You see, you are talking against anger. You say you should not be angry. You should not be jealous. You should not be greedy. You should not be envious. You should not be this, that, and the other. Right? Huh?
They do the social.
Social, yes. Now you don't need a religious man to tell that. You see, what is so religious about it? An angry man is a menace to the society because it disturbs the stability of the society. Period. Full stop. You have moral codes of conduct. You see, created by the legal structure there. You see, every act of yours is condemned by the society. So unfortunately, that is also the resultant of the religious thinking of man. It has resulted from that.
The ethics has created the problem, right? The ethics?
The ethics has created the problem. That's all that I'm saying.
So, but if one looks at the ethical...
Why do you need ethics? You see, here in this country you cannot drive on the left. You see, you will be in trouble. You pay the price for it. That's all there is to it. What is so moral or ethical about it? It is too foolish and too silly. When everybody is driving in one direction, you see, you also have to follow them. If you don't, you see, the fellow will give you a ticket and pay $50 or $60. That's all. That's good nothing. So why you bring the moral and ethical into it, you see? So for the smooth functioning of the society, we have to have certain codes of conduct,
Yeah, that is
elementary manners and common decency. If you don't, you see, there is law to punish you.
So because people, I think, lost faith in that, the religious man had to come and...
Not at all. The religious man has lost grip over these things. He is thrown away from his throne. He is trying, you see, to achieve a comeback using the gullibility and credulity of the people in this room. That's all. He was the mischief maker, you see. If he had behaved decently and acted the way he talked about himself, there wouldn't have been any need for any revolution at all. There wouldn't have been any need for the political mess we have today. So they have resulted from that.
I'm not sure I quite understand how it follows. I mean, what you're supposing we didn't have the rule.
Anyway, we can't reverse the whole thing. So what we can do is to find out where we stand today and the validity of those statements that those people are making, asserting, and suggesting that the way out of this is through me. You understand? I'm not saying that is through me, you see. So I maintain that all of them not can be wrong or wrong. He said the teachers can all of them be wrong. Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, you see, all the sages, saints and saviors of mankind, dead or alive, you see, and yet to come, you see, because they're all going to create universe schools, so the new man, so new world of all that, you see, further. And all of them are wrong. What is it that you are talking? You can't change anything. You can genetically create, you see, a new human being. For good or for bad. Play with those genes, you see. Genetic engineering can create, you see, a new human being. You don't have to brainwash that individual for hundreds of years in the name of communism or in the name of Catholic religion or in the name of this or the other. One drug, you see, will do the act. Hundreds and thousands of people can be sent to the war and they will be like robots kill everything. So why do we have to go through all these things, to be brainwashed, and to be taught this patriotism, saluting the flag and all that kind of a thing?
You really feel all this?
It is coming.
You really feel all this?
It is coming. It is coming.
No, but I would like to know.
Hey, what do you want, please, out of the human? Yeah, right.
On what is the impact of all this making its impact?
What impact is that? What I'm saying?
Yes.
Absolutely no impact.
No, not absolutely, but...
No, neither, much less involved. This is a mechanical...
What is there that receives the impact of all these messages.
I'm not giving you any message.
No.
There is nobody who is speaking here. It's a mechanical thing which is responding to the things that you are throwing it. Sometimes you see it is long, the sentence, sometimes it is short, and the animation, the energy that is put into it is because you see those statements need the emphasis. That's all.
Yeah, the divisive movement of thought that creates self-consciousness in me doesn't work that way in you.
No, you see, we seem to be functioning in two different situations. Seem to be. I don't understand you. You don't seem to understand me. See, he says, he is in a state of knowing all the time. So he is interested in operating in that state of knowing. And the act of knowing has created that state of knowing, gathering information, and through that knowledge you experience things, and experiences strengthen the knowledge, and the knowledge gives you experiences. It goes on and on and on. And you see, I seem to be functioning in a state of not knowing. You see, I know, you see, he will throw a question at me and saying, how do you know that you are not in a state of not knowing? I am not looking at that state and saying that I am functioning in a state of not knowing. And this state of knowing is absent because this movement that recognizes things and names the things is not there except when there is a demand. And the demand is not from within but from without, you see. So exactly the same way that the stimulus creates the perceiver, or the observer, this demand, which is also another kind of a stimulus, is creating the response here. That's all. So this is a tape recorder here, and you are yourself playing. Stopping playing, there seems to be no problem.
You're saying that the thought is only functioning when it's needed.
When it's needed. When it is not needed, I can't say whether the thought is there or not. I have no way of finding out whether the thought is there or not there. So that thought has no separate existence from what is going on.
When it's not needed, you'd say there's no experiencing.
There's no experiencing.
Is there sensation?
You can't say that that is a sensation because the thought is absent. Only when the thought is there it can say that it is a sensation. The translation of sensation is not different from the sensation itself. So there is precious little, practically nothing that we can say about the sensation, except, you see, you place yourself in a laboratory where they can find out and say that this is a sensation. Otherwise, you have no way of experiencing any sensation at all. So there is no experience. There is no new experience at all.
So what makes the difference between, up to a certain point, there is the feeling, or experience, there is experience, etc. And then suddenly, there's the feeling, there's no such thing as experience. What makes the difference between those two things?
No, the feeling you are talking about also is thought.
No, but where does that come home?
What?
On what does that register?
What? It doesn't register anything there. Brahmin, come on. I don't understand your question.
Listen, I'm trotting along one day, and all my life, I believe that there's something. I don't know what it is, but there is something, and there's something to be done about it. Then, suddenly...
No suddenly there. You are saying there is suddenly. This is the point you are saying. No.
Then there is nothing. There is nothing there. There is nothing to be done. Now, on what did that come home? Now,
it has not come home at all.
No.
Yeah, I'm telling you. This is the point. I have arrived here.
No.
There is nothing. There is no thought here. There is no time. You can't say that at all.
No, but now your case. You are not saying these things.
I'm saying these things in
There was a
negating.
time where you never said these things.
You see, now, unfortunately, the line of demarcation between before and after is not there anymore for me.
But what about her case?
No, never mind my case. No.
There is no line of demarcation, line of separation between then and now. Before wash and after wash doesn't exist at all.
But
It doesn't say that this is dirty linen, so there is nothing to be washed. That's what I'm saying. So don't talk of before wash and after wash. You see, this linen is not dirty. There's no need for you to wash.
let's put it very crudely.
That is the crudest example I have given.
Look.
Here you have a cruder one. Come on.
All right.
Sure.
Faith. I believe in faith. Have faith. Blah, 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 blah. Then, no, faith is rubbish. There's no such thing.
Both are the same.
Fantasy is this, that, and the other.
Both are the same.
Now, on
Both
what,
are the
on what was the impact made if it is true that there's no such thing as faith, it's simply one's own whatever, on what did that come home and make its impact?
Your actions are different.
You mean on what you think?
Yes.
In other words, you see, because the actions are different. What is it?
You changed your mind, except there's no mind.
No.
So what is your
That is what she is trying to imply.
No, I'm not trying
No,
to
it is
imply.
not
I'm
one
really
mind and no mind at all.
I'm really curious on what did these things come home and make their impact?
Years ago, what is it doing? See, I don't want to talk about, we are all devotees of Krishnamurti, past, present, I don't know. I have always been a very reverent man. So, still I am, will ever remain here, I suppose. But coming back to her case, well, there is no demarcation. Listen, if you are lucky enough, listen. No, not that something hits you like a lightning, finished, you see. You don't say to yourself, oh, I'm enlightened now, you see, I have found what I have been seeking all my life. And what the hell have I been doing? There is no mind at all. Why the hell have I been talking of, you see, the transformation of mind, radical or otherwise, a mutation of mind. There's nothing there. What the hell have I been doing?
There's not
That's all.
any sort of hidden screen, any sort of hidden recess in which germination, etc.
It is not evolution at all.
Not
At all. Not at all. There is no process, no evolution, nothing to be done,
But something just...
no cause for that. You just...
It's just a wipeout.
You can't say anything about it. You have no way of knowing anything about yourself, period, full stop. You can't look at yourself and say, I am this, I am free. You can be certain of any man who says that he is free and is going to free the whole world is a phony.
There is nothing...
That's all. You have no way of telling yourself that you are a free man.
No hope for sin.
No hope at all.
No hope for sin.
That's the only hope, you see. The hope you are giving to others is a hopeless situation. If something can be done, you see, is hopeless. There is nothing to be done is hope. I'm not playing on words or with words.
What you're saying then is that if there's any change that's going to be possible,
There is no change, that's all that I'm saying. There is no change because there is nothing there to be changed.
but you're implying that there's hope one way and not in another
No,
way.
because that is in response to her question. You see, hope and hopeless she's talking about, so I'm playing on that, you see. The hope is here now. When you say that there is nothing to be changed, so the wanting to change is hopeless because it is tomorrow. You see? There comes the time. I don't want to use those metaphysical.
In other words, it's the very thing which perceives that it wants to change is the very thing which prevents actually being harmonious.
Yes. When it is not there, it is already in harmony. You cannot disturb the harmony that is there. There is nothing there. There is no movement which creates disharmony there. And then talk of harmony. First of all, there is no disharmony. There is no disintegration taking place. It doesn't give any scope or any room for talk of integrated individual.
There is no moment and there is no thought. Time also at the same time.
No time. Thought is done. The moment the thought is born, there is some, the movement, or whatever you want to call it, this, the movement of thought is here, whatever you call you, is born in time. It functions in time, and it can conceive of the possibility of anything happening to it, good or for bad, only in time. So there is no such thing as the timeless. It is the time that has invented the timeless and pursuing what it calls the timeless. And in the meantime, this is assured of continuity. That is its interest. The thoughtless state doesn't exist, and it is the thought that sees the danger of disintegration. Every time it is born, so it has invented what you may not have invented. Some other joker, you see, has passed it on to you for whatever reason. So you are pursuing what it calls the thoughtless state. And in the meantime, the thought has, you see, the certainty of continuity. That is tomorrow, God knows when. So, in other words, there is no such thing as the thoughtless state at all, because the thought can never catch that at all.
But why does it want to ensure its continuity? Why does it want to ensure its continuity?
Why are you asking me the question? It is simple. Do you really want change? Do you want the fear to go? The end of the fear is the end of you, as you know yourself, as you experience yourself. That's all that I'm talking. There is no you other than the you as you know. How do you know that you? Only through the help of this knowledge. And through that you are experiencing the you that you know as yourself and the you that you experience yourself. That is coming to an end. That is not there. That's a very frightening situation. That's the reason why I say you can sit and talk everlastingly on the subject of fear. Don't suppress it, don't do this, don't judge this, all that poetry, and just be choicelessly aware of it. It's all poppycock because you do not want the fear to come to you. You can't touch that fear. It's a living thing there, dynamic power. It's like a volcano erupting there. It is within the framework of this physical
Why
body.
do you say one doesn't want it to come to an end?
Because you are coming to an end, that's the death, that's the only death. And that death, you see, is not the psychological death, dying to your yesterdays and the poetic and romantic death that these people are talking about. But a physical death has to occur there. Because what happens when you die, you see, the thought first comes to an end and then the chemical death takes place. There is no other death except the chemical death, which is defined by the physicians. So since the body is still in its prime, it can renew itself, so you are back in life. And whatever life is there left, you see, by the body, it lives and goes. Then it ceases to be your body. Your body has no independent existence of its own. It is related to everything that is happening there. You think that the body belongs to you? No. You have identified yourself with the body because you have yourself created the body. It is the thought that has created this body for yourself. Otherwise there is no body there, because the body cannot be experienced by you. See, the only way you can experience is through, you see, the sensory perceptions.
What has created the body out of
the materiality of the body you see is the creation of thought, which is matter. That's all that I'm saying. So first you create something here, and in relationship with that, you see, you create everything around you. We have metaphysics that I'm talking about. You see, the eyes do not say anything about this body. The sense of touch does not say anything about this body, because you cannot separate the sense of touch from the body. So only the thought that separates the sensation of touch and says that this is the sensation of touch. So you can't even be aware of your body, to use that much branded jargon in the recent times. The psychologists started that game, see. And so you cannot experience your body, the totality of your body, even with the knowledge you have about the body. Because you see, I always explain it, I explained to you the other day. You are sitting here, we take this body. The eye is looking at the eyes are looking at the body and reflecting, you see, this object called body and the retina. So it cannot reflect what is there behind.
No.
It cannot reflect what the eyes cannot see.
No, it's partial.
It's partial. So the sense of touch, you see, this part is in contact with this part is in contact with this wooden piece, and this part is not in contact with anything. See, the eyes may be looking at them, but it cannot create the totality of the picture without the thought. There is a sound here, you see, the sound is a vibration. So the body, the thought is not interfering and manipulating this body. It is in one vibration with, you see the movement of his fingers there. You see his playing with his fingers there. So the whole body is in harmony with the movement of his hands there. That's the only vibration that is there here. And the smell also. See, and then the wind is blowing, so that is in contact with the rest of the body. The senses function independently. There is no way they can act, you see, in a united way. Each one is acting independently. So since they are acting independently, you have no way of putting them together and saying, see, this is the way I am experiencing. So you have no way of experiencing the complete frame of your body except for your imagination. You imagine there. You see, the imagination is responsible for giving, you see, a form to your body, and it is that helps you to experience. Otherwise, it is a truncated body. Some parts of your body are missing in the picture you have of your body. You know?
So thought makes this total picture.
So it is in that, and then the heaviness that you feel of this body, the heaviness that you experience, is the result of the gravity.
That thought is also creating this table in the same way.
Just the way, you see, it must first create this.
Yes.
And in relationship with that, you see, this is created, you see. You know? So anything you experience in relationship with this point is an illusion, you see, because this itself is an illusion. So anything you experience in relationship with this point is an illusion. It is in that sense, the whole thing is an illusion, but to say that this is an illusion is ridiculous, that Bradley or whatever his name was, he did something, he said, this is an illusion, that was a fool. He did not understand what he was saying. So it is in that sense, it is an illusion, but this is not an illusion. It probably exists, it doesn't exist, you have nothing to do with it. The established relationship is only when there is a point here. So it is in that sense, the thought has created this body, the thought that does not belong to me. That's all that I'm saying.
There's no point there or here.
There is no point here, there is no point there. You see, it is measured. You see, the measurement is possible only from a particular point. So when you fix at a point, and that point is the depth of the thought, and so you create yourself first, and then you see everything around you. So it is in that, you see, it is not the observer that creates the observed, but it is the observed that creates the observer. It runs counter to the whole Vedantic teaching of India.
You're talking of measurement.
It is not the subject that creates the object, and what I am saying is it is the object that creates the subject because of external situations, the light, so many things you are talking, brings, you see, this subject into being. And this subject is nothing but the totality of all the thoughts and experiences of people that existed before and passed on to me from generation to generation. I may have added a little more here, and even that is, you see, the result of this dialectical thinking about the thinking itself. Actually, I have not added anything there to the totality.
The Maya of, for example, Advaita Vedanta, if it is translated as measurement.
It is measurement.
See, Shankara also says it's an illusion in that sense.
It is in that sense, not that the world is an illusion. Killing that is going on in Lebanon is not an illusion. It may be an illusion to the philosopher who is sitting and talking, but it's not an illusion that fellow who is getting killed, hundreds and thousands of people. That's not an illusion. The tree is not an illusion, the mountain is not an illusion, the world is not an illusion. anything that you experience is an illusion.
No, when you say it's counter to Vedanta,
It is the subject that creates the object. I am saying it is the object that brings the subject into being for the specific purpose, and that purpose is the response to the stimulus. There are no religious, mystical overtones to what I am saying. It's a pure and simple physical functioning of the living organism, nothing else.
Then what is this life that you say you have touched and which no other person has
At that point when the moment of thought burnt itself out, you see. So when you touch, let's say simile, you are all the time playing with a live wire, but you will never touch the live wire. Accidentally, you touch the live wire, and then you see the whole thing is burnt. And when once it is burnt, it can never be lifted up again.
Why is this the propaganda?
Of everything that has been.
Everything it is invented. It is invented. It brought from here, and then and then it is totally invented
So the whole
by
thing
you.
by me.
By you or by something interior of you.
Yes, by
So it is
by
not,
referring to
it is no
validity.
value.
That's exactly what I am emphasizing, Valentine.
It's such a
Emphasis. That's exactly what I am saying. What I have stumbled into, what I have discovered for myself and by myself is valid and true for me. That's all. It has no value for anybody. It has no social content at all. And this, you are right, and this cannot be transmitted to anybody, the certainty that is here. So I wouldn't touch anybody, wouldn't start any institutions, brothels, foundations, schools, tantric centers are brothels to me. I'm sorry, you see, some Sadgurus have tantric centers.
So they must be
Yes, that is right. Valentine, you are very clever. You are very intelligent. You have hit the nail on the head. Brought out the statement that is necessary to be made. Thank you. So that's what I'm saying. This cannot be reproduced at all. This cannot be brought about through any volition of yours, much less the help of others. And it is not a thing that you want to have. You really don't know what this is. You cannot ask for something that you do not know. You can't want something that you do not know. What you want is only a projection of your imagination, born out of what you have been fed with for centuries. That's all. This you cannot ask for. No. It has no value, either for me or for the world at large. It has no social content at all. So unfortunately, you create, you see, turn this into a model, and then you see, pressure every individual, you see, to imitate this and live this kind of a life. Well, what for? This cannot be reproduced.
How do you know?
Huh?
How do you know?
Because it is something that cannot be reproduced. This is the end, finish. Physically, let alone is, physically, you see, this body cannot reproduce another body because the sex is finished for such an individual. The whole hormone balance has changed as a result of this blow or the lightning hitting this individual. So he cannot reproduce either physically or otherwise. So life's interest is only to reproduce, that is its nature, you see, to maintain the life. Why it should reproduce, that question has no meaning, that is its nature, you see, to reproduce one like this, to survive and reproduce one like this. And the intelligence that is necessary is already there and you don't have to do anything. But unfortunately we have created a structure of society which is so organized that you cannot function without acquiring the intellect that is necessary to survive. So everything is an extension of the survival mechanism. I admit that, I am not denying that. So religion is, you see, part of the survival mechanism. To believe in God is, you see, survival mechanism. To salute our flag is, you see, an extension of the survival mechanism. Patriotism is an extension of the survival mechanism. So this will blast the whole thing. So you are not interested in that kind of a thing. You can't be interested. Not that you are not interested. You can't be interested in this. You fall for poetry, romantic stuff, you see. You see, nature is not using anything as a model. Not that I have a special insight into the nature of things. If the world were to be filled with only roses, it would be a horrible place to be. You know that the grass flower there is as much an importance or a place in the scheme of things. So nature does not use anything as a model. When once it perfects a thing, it is thrown off the craft sheet. It has no use for it. This body has no use for at all, because it cannot reproduce and maintain the life. So if you use this individual as a model, you see, the world will be a sorry place to be. That's why we have created mess. All the messiahs have left nothing but mess in this world. And one mess claiming to be the only mess, and then you see the fighting is going on.
Well, what do you see what do you see as the future of man?
No, honestly. There's nothing that we can do to reverse this, you see. It's not that it's going to happen, probably. It is not love, it's brotherhood that can keep the world together. It's the terror of extinction. You see, I cannot destroy you without destroying myself. You see, the terror probably will keep us together and behave better. Not love, not the talk. You see, the religious teachers have been dishing out for centuries. No. It does not touch anything. Love thy neighbor as thyself has resulted in massacre, bloodshed, assassination, killing. And more people have died in the name of love thy neighbor as thyself than all these recent wars put together. You see? It's the same. Buddha did exactly the same. You see, you cannot exonerate them, I'm sorry. If you say church is wrong, but Jesus was fine, no. That has resulted from that neurotic situation in that man. See, if he's talking of love, if he's talking of compassion, see, divisive consciousness is perpetuated. One day you are going to be in the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God doesn't exist. At that time it was a limited thing. We talked of New Jerusalem. You look at the New Jerusalem today. So Buddhism has resulted in massacre, unheard of torture, violence. Sure, you have to read the Japanese history when it's well there. You cannot exonerate those teachers. It's too late. They have been dead and gone. See, forget them. Because all those teachings have resulted in horror. Not only the political systems of today, but those religious teachings. But there is nothing that we can do to reverse it.
Accept everything the way it is. Everything
I'm
is
not,
all right the way it is.
No, I'm not. What is wrong with it, first of all? I don't see anything wrong with this world, because the world cannot be any different. How can it be the different, tell me? So those who want to tinker with it, change it, you see, for whatever reasons, they are the ones that are making it a sorry place to live in. They are the ones. Look at your education institutions all the time, you see, fighting, you see, hating people. So those who are not with us are against us. You see, that has been the same story all over, all through centuries. My teacher is the one and the only teacher. And your teacher is 10 degrees below me, 10 levels, 10 steps below him. It's the same story. So what is wrong with this world? I wonder. It's a beautiful world.
Yes, adding wood so that in the knowledge we are creating a
Do you or do you not want a policeman to protect, you see, your little property? This hydrogen bomb is an extension of that. You cannot do away with that. It's
So that is
impossible.
the intention with which you see some schools are trying to...
No. You see, they have already added, you see, momentum to that. You see, they may not use nuclear weapons, they use worse things than that. Tomorrow you are going to give me a paradise. What about today? You want me to wait until that? You see how many hundreds and thousands of Americans died in Vietnam? 50,000, probably 500,000 Vietnamese. Look at that. Still going on, the massacre. It's not a paradise. So do you or do you not want? You see, it is not that, you see, that is important here. You see, it is protecting itself. You know, the thought is a protective mechanism. So it is that that creates all these things.
When you say that this world is all right for the same.
I don't find anything wrong with this world, you see. If you want the world your way, and if you want to be the president of the United States of America, or whatever it is, it's a different matter. You try it.
Eugene, according to what you say about nature, that it's only interested in perpetuating itself and multiplying itself. When you get off the laws of nature, why do you remain alive?
I have no place to go to. This is the only reality I have. I belong here in this world. So here, whatever momentum...
Why this body is alive?
You see, the fact that I am a living human being is something which I cannot experience. If you send a doctor, yes, he will come and measure, you see, everything, the temperature, the heartbeat, the pulse, and he will assure me and assure you that this fellow is very much alive. Fine, wonderful, all right. The fact that I am alive is a thing which I cannot experience without the help of the knowledge which he has given me. Your temperature of the body is this, you know, your heartbeat is this, your pulse is this, so the blood flow is this, so you are a wonderful human being. Living.
That's true of all of us, isn't it?
That's true of all. But the fact that you are a living being is something which cannot be experienced by you. You see, so I don't even know whether I am alive or dead. If you ask me, are you alive or dead, I would say yes. According to the definition of a live human being, I'm a living being. See, now they are talking of very strange things. What we studied in physics doesn't seem to be valid anymore. There is no difference between an inanimate and an animate object anymore. Now we used to give answers, 10 points, inanimate and animate objects. Now they say there is no difference between an animate and an inanimate object. See, the constituent elements of this body, they are broken and tested, and you see what is contained here in this table and what is there in that tree. The proportions are exactly the same. The elements are the same. The proportions may be different, but it is all the same. In that sense, there is an integral unity. Not the unity that is created by the thought. It is not the unity that these great philosophers in India talk of, oneness of life, the unity of life, all that is bunk, you see. So there is, you see, an integral unity. And you don't have to do a thing about it. It's now proof, you see. So you are nothing but a fortuitous concourse of atoms, and that is nothing but a fortuitous concourse of atoms. So that is not a very happy and pleasant thought for one who wants to have a good time, you see. They are laughing. So I don't see anything wrong with this world. I don't see anything wrong with anybody. How do you expect? You must be selfish. Anger, you want to be free from anger, you want to be free from jealousy. If you are free from jealousy, if you are free from envy, don't forget that everything is finished for you. You can't be free from jealousy and yet you see live with a woman. If jealousy goes, the woman goes, and all that the woman stands for. Don't kid yourself. Because both of them spring from the same source. So you are not interested in freeing yourself from envy, from jealousy, because you will lose that, you see. It's an integral part of the survival mechanism that you must be envious and that you must be greedy. I'm not teaching greed as a way of, it is there whether you like it or not. You have no way of freeing yourself from that except, you see, letting that particular thing burn itself out. You don't do it one after the other. If anger goes, everything goes. It will burn you. Where is that anger? It's part of this body. You see, it is handling it. It knows what to do with that sensation of anger. The volcanic eruption of a particular energy. It's energy. It's life. It is absolute downright stupidity to talk against anger because it becomes an anti-social thing for the stability of the society, for the status quo of the society. So the religious buffoons started talking against that. And now the politicians say, you see, everybody says, don't be angry. Anger often by itself cannot do harm to anything. It cannot do harm even to this body because the body has got to absorb that. It has already absorbed it. You are not dealing with anger there, you are dealing with the shadow of it, which is frustration. The fear that you see you will act in such and such a way. If the anger is not there, you are dead, you are a stone. Even this has anger. The vibrations of anger and the energies, the display of this particular thing when it is broken is exactly the same. You give a name and call this anger. Don't condemn it, don't justify it, don't identify it, but be choiceless. This is a joke. How can you be? You can't look at the sun, it will burn you. This choiceless awareness joke is, you see, glasses. You wear another kind of glasses because it's fashionable for you to wear new glasses. And you try to look at the sun. How can you look at it? You see, how can you look at fear? How can you look at anger? How can you look at jealousy? How can you look at greed? You give different names. It burns you. It's all poetry. It's all romantic stuff. I'm sorry. You enjoy that. I have no interest in taking anybody away from anybody. See, go on to the world. If such new men are put in charge of this world, they will not be any better. Probably they will be worse because, you see, they move around with a swagger and a feeling. You see, it's another kind of a snobbery. We are free men. We are creating a new world. New man in a new world. See, you can trust a Hitler but not a Gandhi who talks of non-violence. You know what he will do. But a loving man is a dangerous man. So it would be foolish on my part to get him on a platform and talk because, you see, it can't be done. It cannot be done. That is why I say, you see, you can listen to any talk for 100 years. Nothing is going to happen, not because that's a phony business. It is a phony business. But because there is nothing there to be transformed. The transformation, if there is any, is only within that framework, you see. You know, the angry man becomes less and less angry. All those techniques that have been given to us, passed on to us, don't work. You see, this is something new, you see, the new gimmick, the fashionable one. You play with it for some time, but at the end of your life, you realize what a sorry thing that you So it is not given to me to save anybody from anything, much less the world. See, when once the demand to change there in you is not there, the demand to change the world also is finished. Not that I'm saying this is a marvelous world. See? People being what they are, it can't be any different. How can it be different? Try and change yourself. Why should it take so many years? Something funny there, you see. Tomorrow you are going to be a marvelous individual, a kind man, generous man, compassionate. What about now? Why you can't be the kind and loving man now? Why does it have to be tomorrow or your next life? Why? So something is wrong somewhere. It's funny. There may not be anything to that at all. That is the reason why I'm telling you, see, because the instrument which you are using to bring about a transformation or a change is not interested in change. It has come into being during the course of time and it functions in time, and any change that is interested is only in time, and it cannot conceive the possibility of anything happening outside the field of time. It can talk of time, you see, as a marvelous abstraction, see, the timeless and all that, but never a change. That is why it has not helped anybody, it is not going to help anybody. That is not the instrument, period. And then there is no other instrument. No other instrument is necessary because there is nothing there to be transformed. There is nothing there to be changed. The instrument is there only to change. You see, when there is nothing to be changed, you realize the uselessness and meaninglessness of using that instrument.
What do we think there is there to be changed? What is it we think there is there to be changed?
It is the thinking that has created a thing to be changed, first of all. The self that you are talking about is created by thinking. It first creates an object there called self, you see, the I or whatever the mind is, psyche. And then, you see, wants to change it. It's just really a funny game it plays. Is there anything there is to be changed, you see? You know, that's a very natural question to ask. Don't bother about transformation and all that. What is it that you want to change there? This body you can't change. You can change it. It's functioning, everything through the help of genetic engineering. That's the only way. There's no other way. If you don't like your nose, you can go to a plastic surgeon and ask him to make that look like an aquatic nose, because it's fashionable to have an aquatic nose. That's fine. You see, you don't like your ears. That's fine. You see, you can let your face or do what you like. You see, that's all you can do. But what else is there to change? There must be something funny somewhere. Can't be wrong with you. How can it be wrong with you? All the time you say, something. You are made to feel that you are something terrible, you see, by these teachers. Mankind. Oh my God.
I felt that. It's always been
You are a sinner, first of all. You see, you are terrible, you are in misery, you are in sorrow, you are in this, you are in that, you see, and here is the remedy. Take it. That's the same speech. Why they are doing what they are doing is not our concern. If the whole humanity falls for it, is not your concern. So your relationship with that, you see, you dare not question the teaching because you have accepted somehow that this is the one that will give me whatever you are after. Because you have you feel that all the other things have failed. You have not tried the other things.
Actually, one of the main problems with the school is that...
no, I don't want to talk of that school, you see, please. No, but it's not fair, you see.
No.
I already have a bad name, you see, bad reputation.
No, I'm saying something that I feel personally, and that people told me, that they were being made to feel that they shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that. So
The do's and don'ts is the same thing. It's not something new, you see. You watch your parents. That was my problem with my elders. I didn't. So don't you ever say do it? You always say don't. That's all I hear from the elders, you see. Do this, go and jump, you see, into the well. Nobody said that. Don't do that, you see. You know. You don't have to steal money, you see. I give you money, go, take, you see. They never say do it. Don't, do's and don'ts all the way long.
Well, it's supposed to be your own interest. I mean, a child is...
Yeah, you put it on the child, you see. It's my interest. I don't want my child, you see, to be a gangster.
Yeah.
So that hurts me. So why talk in high-sounding things, you see?
No, that create problem for him.
Sure. No, not for him. He knows how to, you see. In spite of you, he will survive. But your relationship with him as your son or daughter, that's really the problem. So you are the problem and not the child.
So is it not necessary to...
For whom?
Bring up children so that they act well in society? And they have not. It's not necessary.
Do they act well with teachers? If a girl with a sex problem comes to you and she wants to discuss the sex problem, he or she or it as the case may be, are you in a position to help that child? You can have sex and have fun with the girl and say it's fine, that's sex, it's whatever. But can you help them? You tell me, be honest with yourself. Talking together, we will find out something, both of us, that's all. That's it. Sorry.
But sometimes it can help
Smoking. In what way?
Talking is, for example, pointing out the danger of things like
The Catholic Church preaches that, you see, you don't need a new school.
So really that method has failed, you see. So this
What makes you think that this method has succeeded?
No, this is an attempt.
Attempt, you see, attempt, you see. All right, try. It's your job, you are a teacher. Why do we educate children, first of all? That's my basic question. You don't seem to take into consideration the reality of the world. They have to function there intelligently. If you don't help them to function there, you are destroying them, you see. You know? This world you are talking about doesn't exist. I have no place to go to. That's where I have to function. Here in the midst of this world, there is no other world for me. There is no other reality. This is the world. If I can't function here, you see, well, where else can I go? This is the only world for me, you see. The world of greed, the world of ambition. See, if you teach those boys not to be ambitious, you are creating them more neurotic than what they already are. The whole foundation is built on that structure of ambition. You are not going to do away with that at all. You are not going to change that world. So that is the neurosis, you see. You know, he is basically ambitious. The whole atmosphere is charged with that ambitious demands. So if you hadn't come out of university with flying colors and gold medal, you see, you would be lost there forever. Teaching in some elementary school, you see, arithmetic to handicapped children. So you are using your intelligence, your brilliance, your brightness. If not that, you use something else, you know. No, I am not the savior of mankind, you see. Nobody has given the mandate, you see, to save the world. I am not called upon to save the world. So the world doesn't need any saving, you see. The world must be saved from the saviors of mankind, of all shapes and colors and sizes. Anyway, this can't be of any use to you. No.
Teaching, if thought has created the illusion of self,
That has created you, first of all. Forget about the self. I'm telling
the
you.
illusion of me, then
Can you say that it is an illusion?
thought has created this.
Are you sure of that? You are not sure.
Oh,
If that is a certainty, no, that is a certainty to me.
yeah, okay.
It's a fact. It's a fact of my existence. So you cannot say that. You cannot repeat that
When
sentence.
you say that, it's a fact of your existence.
It has no value to you.
Okay.
Yes.
But
Why are you interested in that, first of all? Because it will destroy.
how come
All your relationships
what it
will
has
go.
created?
Huh?
How come thought cannot change what it has created?
It cannot. It cannot. You see, the hope that you have is that somehow this instrument can help you to reverse it. It is not possible for that. That is where all these teachers are putting you on a merry-go-round. You see, that is not the instrument. That instrument can do that only. If that is understood, you see, then the other question does not at all arise. Or is there any other instrument? Because there is nothing there to be changed. So then only the question arises. You are not, first of all, sure that there is nothing there to be changed. And if that is the one that has created, how come that cannot help us to free us from that? You see, if that is not there, the question that you are posing yourself or throwing at me does not at all arise there. You see, there are no questions. Not an unanswered question. You see, you are asking questions for which you already have answers. I'm sorry to say that. Otherwise, there are no questions at all. Only questions that are essential to ask for normal function in this world. Not the profound questions, serious questions. They all arise from the answers you already have, and you don't want the answer because the answer, if there is any, is the end of that question. Since that question has arisen from the answer you already have, the answer, if there is any to that question, would put an end to that answer. You understand? That answer is you. That's the danger. It is not that poetry. I tell you, you wouldn't want the answer because the answer would put an end to you as you know yourself, as you experience yourself. That's the fear. And that is not your answer, and obviously that is not the answer. That is where you get sentimental.